Jaime here from Inky&Scrappy, sharing with you today a new to me style card. At least I received one in the mail, thought it was cool, and had to find the coordinating dies. You can do this card with selective die cutting and some scoring, but sometimes that's just a little bit too much work. So I've been shopping around for swing style card dies. The Gemini one was the nicest priced one, and so it's also the most basic. So it really has that one swing piece that die cuts and makes your score line on there, and it just has kind of the building, I guess, the nesting pieces for inside that. I wish it had a few more pieces, but for the price point that it was, I think it was around 14-ish. Don't quote me on that. At our local craft store, Crafts Direct. And so I, of course, had a coupon and could use a 40% off. So I think I got it for like $8. So I figured it was worth the go on it. And so I went for it. And because they only have I think they had the Hexagon die one. I think this was the only one that they had currently in stock. I kind of wanted the circle one, but I saw the Hexagon one and I thought, well, it will go perfectly with the Fawn Hive 5 card kit that I bought last year when it released. And so I think the sneaks I've seen might mean that it's also releasing to the general population who missed it last summer. So if it is, you're going to love that one because it's adorable. So because this is my first go, I did video it, and I figured I'd show you my process of errors and things that I might switch about next time that I make them, and or things that I wish were maybe included. So to me, I love the swing card look, but you know, I still like to have that flap that opens up that I can write on the inside, so you still see the front and there's no writing on it because I don't like my writing. And so this was my, I guess, solution to not having the traditional flappy fold card. I did make it a flappy fold card, but I did need to cut out a little piece here. So I did bring in my Hexagon nesting dies from Waffle Flower. They were close. Not exactly the same hexagonal shape as the ones from the Gemini set here. But I did find one that was super close to add on to get that swing feature, because I needed it to be open air back there so that swing feature could swing around. And so it does cause a little bit of a hole in my card front, but that's okay. And yes, this was my second die cut card piece because I didn't necessarily read the back of the instructions. So if you get it, if you read the back of the instructions, I think it tells you to do like a 2 inches from the side so your swing stays onto your card front. This one I purposely cut a little bit more off, but I also purposely made sure that it was 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 for my finished card piece, if that makes sense. I could have gone with a bigger card here. I could have done like a 5 1/2 by 5 1/2 probably, and had more writing room on the inside, but I really didn't want the extra writing room, and I did cut it a little bit so it gives a little skinny strip of purple along the one side for added interest. And then once I have that all figured out, I am using the other piece that I cut for my first one. So I ended up with 2 of them, but that first one, because I didn't cut it from the 2 inches over, and so I needed to wiggle that one. I do bring it in a couple of times in frame video, and I did do an actual card with it, and I have that one up on my Instagram. I actually posted it when I created it. So if you follow me on Instagram, you got that sneak peek. And here is the one that I was, more going for. That one was my bonus card. So I'm lining this up on the back on that first fold there. And so this way it's going to leave me, I think it's like a quarter, I think it's a little less than a 1/4 inch, but it might be a 1/4 inch. A little bit of hangover there. And then for that center piece, I just kind of measured it, and then I'm just going to cut it down the center there so I can have a little bit of added interest onto this piece here. Now I will say after the fact, so you know, we are currently in rock picking mode or farm mode, and so I have a lot of free time. I shouldn't say free time because I'm busy. Like my hands are busy, my legs are busy, and I'm bending over picking up rocks. If you've never picked rocks up, it really sucks. Anyways, so I have a lot of mind free time, which isn't necessarily a great thing when life hasn't been the greatest lately. So trying to keep myself distracted mind-wise, I often troubleshoot card ideas and or things, and then I did start doing some audiobooks while I rock pick if I'm by myself, because usually we listen to the radio if I'm with the boys, but I have been doing audiobooks. I'm liking them, so they just play in my pocket as I'm bending over picking rocks. So 2 for 1, right? I get my exercise in and I get an audiobook in. Bonus. Anyways, so while I was doing that, I kind of figured out in my head, oh, you know, because this one, the only thing, because some of the cards that I've seen with it are not with this one, but with the swing style, have like the die cut pieces that go, I think they're like the full panel, so it actually cuts your whole card out. You don't have to measure and cut. You just like take your 6x6 piece of cardstock and run it through, and it cuts it to your card size, blah, 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 blah. But those ones kind of come with some added dies for layering on top. So for this one, to layer it on top, like if you want to do a purple border all the way around as your card base, and then do that swirl, you could do 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch off the top, the bottom, and the 2 sides. And then you'd have to cut it where your hexagon is. Sorry, I can't remember how to say hexagon. Where your hexagon is, and that little strip piece there. And then if you wanted that one in, it's not going to work like it would for the other one where it would give you a border. But then you could have at least like a bordered, outside border. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Anyways, in my head, out in the field, picking rocks, it made sense. So I just figured I'd share that one with you. So I am bringing in some pre-color. Well, some of them are pre-colored. They're not all pre-colored because I hadn't colored the flowers because I hadn't decided what colors I wanted to do on them. But for the most part, the other stuff is all colored. And so I'm just trying to figure out my layout here and all the fun things. So if you follow me on Instagram, you will know, let's see, life has not been the greatest, but I did get baby chicks in the early April. And so I have been sharing some Instagram reels on their growth progress. They are adorable. They're naughty little chicks, but they're very camera shy. So every time they're being naughty and I bring out my phone to video their little antics, they all behave. They're like little children. What? You want to catch me doing something fun? Not happening. I'm going to be the perfect little angel that I claim to be all the time. And so, yeah. But they're kind of working on their pecking order. I'm just bringing in a full background scripty stamp from Hero Arts to add a little bit of added interest to my pieces here. Anyways, back to my chickies. So they're working on their pecking order. And so they sit there and they sit there and peck at each other's tail feathers or whatever to just, to try to claim head pecker in charge. And it's kind of funny to watch them. But every time I catch them and bring out the camera, they're like, nope, what? We're sweet and innocent. But they're also kind of losing all of their down feathers and fluff, and so they're kind of ugly at the moment, but cute at the same time. Only a mother could love such a, hideous-looking, half-feathered creature. It's all good fun. So they are my future egg layers. My current egg layers are getting old and dying of old age, which makes me sad, but they've had a very long, for an egg layer, they're 5 or 6 years old already. So I knew they were starting to, they're starting to get old. So we're going to build a second coop so I can put the new ones in the old coop, and the old ones will go into the retirement home coop because, you know, I can't get rid of them. I'm emotionally attached. So they'll live their life out in, you know, their retirement coop. We don't mix them because the last time I had new chicks and old chicks, the old chicks beat up on my little chicks, and I just can't handle them being mean to each other. So it has a lot to do with pecking order, and so the new group kind of has their head leader in charge, and then the old group has their head leader in charge. And so they kind of, once they've established a pecking order, it's a social thing with them. So once they establish a pecking order, it kind of stays, but whenever you introduce new chicks, you risk that pecking order, you know, so then they have to fight in line again for pecking order, and they can get pretty mean, so, to each other, and so I like to avoid that if at all possible. So therefore, I don't want to mix these ones. I said we'll do separate ones, and I'll just, you know, if I have to mix them when winter comes in the fall, I will. But I'm hoping I don't have to. But we'll see how life goes. So back to the actual card here. So I've got this all pretty much laid out. I decided that I want my sentiment to be hidden underneath that little swing piece, and so I opted for a large sentiment. I kind of toyed back and forth with doing like a sentiment strip on the bottom, on the front, that would, like, you know, carry over to the inside. But I like the idea of doing the word bee with, you know, 2 E's, because hello, bees. And so I did that with Henry's ABCs, and then the happy is from, I think it's the Simple Stories die set. So it's just a Simple Stories die set that's got some basic happy, like, I don't know, there's just a bunch of cute scripty words in it. Very versatile, so I'm using that one. I think it's like happy day, they might be a birthday, those types of things, congrats, thanks. I don't remember what's all in there, but it was, you know, a vast array of little scripty words that I like to pull out from time to time. This was one of them. So I did the bee and then the happy underneath with a little bee floating through, and then of course the little bee trail and the little bee. So I did bring in some of the colors that I had used to match the card front, or the card, I can't say the card front really, so to match the rest of the colors on the card. I don't know if they were similar to the ones that I'd originally used to color my bee. I do have the, I think I have one of my color cards has the actual bees on it, so I know which colors I kind of used, but I just went with something that matched. And then I brought in some of the diamond dots, the independent dots, or whatever you want to call them, in a white iridescent, so they kind of have a pearl metallic shine to them, just to add a little bit, you know, of bling, because we all need a little bit of bling. And then of course that wasn't enough bling, so I did bring in some glitter glue as well for all of the winged things. I did do a gold Spectra Noir glimmer pen. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, we're going to go with that one. I'm not going to look it up. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. For my bee, for my queen bee's crown. And then on the inside, I will stamp something when I know where my card is actually heading. So, and then of course, because it's a swing card, I have to be careful not to fold it in on itself and get the little bee that's underneath, you know, so none of the wings touch the paper so it doesn't stick together while the glue dries. So there is my very first swing style card and the inside. And then of course there's a cute little bee with the honey on the inside that's hiding. And then, oh, I did do thanks for being my friend. So I lied. I did put a sentiment on the inside. And here is my other one, my bonus card. I did bring in the butterfly set from Tim Holtz to do the butterfly on front. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Thanks. Bye.